Hello Australia, welcome to episode 684 of The Couch. Let me tell you who's on the show today. We've got Mars Garage performing for us. Can't wait for them. They're five brothers, great people. Talking Green with Cara Walker, she's back. Stay tuned for her great segment coming up very soon. Talking Music with Demelza Leonard, always lots of music. I bet no ABBA today as well. Wild Things with Marnie Giroux, she has got a little insect for us to have a look at today. Stay tuned for that one. Talking Health with Dr. Joe Kosterich and Nisha, Inspire Radio. It's a great new radio service, helps people with mental health. We'll be talking to them today. Fresh and Local with Zoe Zazas in the city. We've got Nonna coming in. Nonna Roslin is coming in to cook up some fresh Italian meatballs. Can't wait for that. Big show, big couch. Stick around. Starts now.
It's showtime on the couch. It's showtime on the couch. You can see it from your house. You can see it from your house. It's showtime on the couch with Fred and the best in town. You can see it from your house. Yeah, it's showtime on the couch. Oh, oh, oh.
Hello Australia, thank you very much for your company. Hello Victoria, things are looking up over there. Good to see your numbers coming down. Thanks for watching The Couch. New South Wales and Tasmania, Adelaide, Northern Territory, Canberra, and I think I've got everyone, and Broome and WA here, of course, here in Perth. Thank you very much for your company. We're looking good around Australia. I hope we can soon fly out of Perth if our Premier takes down those borders. On the show today, Cara Walker is back and she's talking to a very special person. His name is Hunter. Over to you, Cara.
Thank you, Fred. Today we are very happy to have Hunter here from Transfolk of WA. Thank you, Hunter, for coming into the couch today.
Thank you for having me.
It's so wonderful to speak to you, to clear up some misunderstandings I think that have been firing around lately. So can you tell me a little bit about what it means to be transgender?
Sure. So being transgender means that you feel that you're the gender that you were assigned, or the sex that you were assigned at birth, does not align with how you feel inside with your gender identity. So you may not take steps to do anything about that, but many people take steps to express that. So it may mean dressing differently, it may mean seeking out medical treatment, or it may mean having surgery.
Okay, so tell me what it means about pronouns. We talk a lot about this. What does that mean?
Sure. So if you do feel that the sex that you were assigned at birth doesn't align with your gender identity, how you express yourself, then you would appreciate other people valuing and validating your experience of that. So when trans people ask other people to use pronouns that match their gender identity, it's a way of affirming and validating their expression and the way that they feel inside. A lot of the time, trans people encounter a lot of backlash for that, and the world is not necessarily always accommodating, so the things that you can do to support them in that are really, really appreciated. So
would it be maybe asking someone how they would like to be introduced and announced? Yeah, I mean, for most LGBTQIA plus people, it's quite common now to express, or even before you're asked, tell people your pronouns are he, they, she, whatever it might be. So if you are aware of that and you're aware that there's somebody who would appreciate that, or even if you wouldn't, normalising that behaviour and saying to people, what are your pronouns? It's a pretty harmless thing that you can do, and it's appreciated by LGBT people. Great. And then also we talk a lot about public toilets, and it's a bit of an issue with the community. So can you tell me a little bit what that means to you?
Yeah, I mean, to me it feels like a bit of a storm in a teacup, because I can assure you that thousands of trans people around the world are using bathrooms and no one's paying any attention. And for us, it feels a bit like being scapegoated for nothing real. It's a little bit of an imagined thing. So, I use the bathroom that I feel aligns with me, and most people use the bathroom that they feel aligns with them, and nothing comes of it. So for us, it's kind of a bit odd and disappointing to have to constantly revisit that.
It is, I can imagine. And it's good to see more places like university campuses having, mixed bathrooms now as well, which I think is really the way forward, as we do at home.
Absolutely, gender neutral bathrooms at home.
Exactly. Now, I mean, the reason I really want to get you in, because there's just been such a stirring by someone who I've always looked up to, J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, has recently been putting out a lot of really discriminative text and even creating badges to put into a shop, which seems really extreme anti-trans behaviour.
Yeah.
So how does that affect somebody in the community, or people in general in the community?
Yeah, I think as with you, it's really disappointing if you've grown up with the books that someone who wrote something that affected you so much and that was so powerful and such a cultural experience and talks so much about the inclusive power of love and how dangerous ideas of purity and how pernicious those ideas can be is now kind of policing a different idea of purity. So it's really disappointing and frustrating, and it's disappointing and frustrating that she continues to do it and kind of sway the conversation rather than letting people who are more experienced, more knowledgeable, have done more research, express themselves. And it seems a little disingenuous to keep revisiting it and claiming that it's just her opinion when she's voicing it to millions of people. But hopefully we can move past it and more positive influences will come out, as many have. There's a letter that's been released of thousands of authors who expressed a solidarity with the trans community.
That's wonderful. And, I feel out of the LGBTQ, community, I feel the trans community is the one now we're trying to get more support of. It just feels that that's the side that we needed to look at more. And I know that when the postal vote came out, it affected a lot of people, and I'm sure when these things stir up that it does generally affect a lot of people as well, when you're feeling not supported. And yeah, I think,
for me, I'm in a pretty lucky position where I don't feel too affected, but I'm not under 18, where I'm living in a household that may not be too friendly to me. I'm not living in a repressive community, and I feel pretty comfortable in who I am. I think it's a very different story for young people who don't necessarily have all the grounding, have the confidence, have everything on their side. So when they have to confront a world, whether it be on the internet or whether it be in the real world where people are not friendly, it can be really, really damaging. So that's what we're trying to work against.
So for somebody who feels that they may be transgender, where do you think would be a really good place for them to go to find support?
I think, we have a website, transfolkofwa.org, and we're always working to support people. We're an advocacy group, and there are many resources out there that you can access. Equality Australia is another one, and Trans Hub. So there are places you can go, you are supported, and it does get better.
Excellent. And people who want to support the trans community, do you recommend they go on there as well and just learn a lot more about it?
Yeah, we are trying very hard to start up programs that will help trans people. We have a binder program that we've just started. So if there's anything that you can do or you want to try and help us, we're perfectly willing to start a conversation with you, and you can volunteer or you can just donate money, whatever it is. We're happy to talk to you about that.
Wonderful. Thank you for coming on the couch and talking about this. It's really wonderful to hear from you, and hopefully we can get more clarity and openness in the community. So thank you everyone for listening to that. And we're going to go back to Fred now, but if you want more information, please head to the Transfolk of WA website or to the Eco Fairies or to thecouch.com.au. Back to you, Fred.
Beautiful, Cara. Always nice to have you back. And please, if you're not sure, if you want to talk to someone, reach out, get some help and get some advice, because you're not always wrong. It could be the way you're feeling and people around you, like Hunter said, not a friendly home, and sometimes you need to reach out and get some help and some advice as well. We've got music now coming up on the couch. Mars Garage are in, and they're performing a wonderful song called Sunny Days. Here they are.
Sunny day, I chased all the clouds away. It's as clear as your eyes. One look from you can blow this heart away, as if you knew you'd find me again one day. Imagine you and me sailing across the sea, just you and me, as far as the eyes can see. There is no place I would rather be than one kiss melts into ecstasy. Touching you as the stars come out to play, holding you, full moon begins to rise. Sunny days, taking my breath away. Sunny days, stolen my heart again. Sunny days, find you again one day. Sunny days, sunny days, sunny days, magical sunny days. Touching you as the stars come out to play. Holding you, full moon begins to rise. Sunny days, taking my breath away. Sunny days, stolen my heart again. Sunny days, find you again one day. Sunny days, sunny days, sunny days, magical sunny days.
There you go, nice relaxing feel, like the Beach Boys, aren't they? That is, of course, Mars Garage, Sunny Days. They'll be back again next year. Thank you very much for performing for us. And time now to talk music. Hello. Thank you very much. Welcome back to our very own Demelza Leonard.
Yes.
And this is our last for the year, is it not? I think you're back on.
Yes.
You might be back on our Christmas show or the last show, the 2-hour show.
We'll have to find out.
I have to have a look. But anyway,
tuned.
lots to talk about today. You've got Pearl Jam in the news.
Yeah, so Pearl Jam have released a new track. In fact, this track was released off an album called The Good Music to Avert the Collapse of the American Democracy, where all proceeds from this particular album went to the Voting Rights Lab. So trying to get people behind voting and you know, well, look at America at this point in time. Now, this track has now been released on all streaming services. So if you are a fan of Pearl Jam and you do want to add this to your catalogue of Pearl Jam hits, then it is available right across the board from Apple right through to Spotify.
Pearl Jam, Get It.
Well, so the song's called Get It Back.
I'll get it back.
On the actual release that it was originally released of, there was 77 rare or previously unreleased tracks from artists such as Pearl Jam, Tenacious D is another one, and the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, as well as a whole heap of other musicians as well. So it's not brand new music for 2024 Pearl Jam. They released an album which went number 3 on the ARIA charts, Gigaton, a little bit earlier this year. So it's just to add to the collection of stuff.
I haven't seen a lot from Pearl Jam, and that's probably the reason why.
I think a lot of us kind of think about the 90s when they were huge. You know, they had Better Man, Alive, Daughter, you know, those massive iconic songs that are now synonymous with the 90s rock and grunge era. Yeah. But this is the album that they released in March is their 11th studio album. So they have still been making music.
I still love them as a band anyway. Great music.
Fantastic band.
What does this mean to you? I just called to say.
It means that Stevie Wonder is also releasing new music. But in this case, it's actually the first time he's releasing music and work that is not on the Motown Records label. So his entire career has been on Motown. He's now created his own imprint label called So What the Fuss music label.
Say it again.
So What the Fuss. If you're a fan of Stevie Wonder, you will pick up on that. Now, this one is actually distributed through Republic Records and then Universal as their major stable. This track here is one of the first songs. It's called Can't Put It in the Hands of Fate. It's got to do a lot with the Black Lives Matter movement at the moment. And he's teamed up with Rhapsody, Corday, Chika, and also Busta Rhymes on this one. He's
a different sound, isn't it?
Very different sound.
To what we're used to with him.
Yeah, it's not as, I guess, poppy as we we've known, especially the music that he released in the 70s and the 80s.
I guess if you like Stevie Wonder, this will grow on you.
This
Give it a go
definitely
and see
will.
how you go.
And even when you look at the musicians that he's performing with, you know, Busta Rhymes is really the most commercial out of all of them. Gary Clark Jr., if you love his stuff, the other track he's released, Where Is Our Love, is also a very, very acoustic and very folksy as well. So a little bit different for Stevie.
And I guess with Stevie Wonder, it was the era of that type of music. Everything sounded the same, or happy, loving and all that sort of thing. And I guess we're in 2020 now, Corona and everything else, different style.
Well, you know, fans of Stevie Wonder are quite happy that he's been releasing music because he was quite ill at the start of the year. So the fact that he's out there and he's putting music out is a positive sign
It's a
as
good
well.
thing. ARIA nominations, they're back again for next year.
The ARIA nominations are in, and it looks like independent labels are doing very well this year. They've actually taken out more nominations than those from the major labels. Lime Cordiale nominations have led the nominations with 8 awards. Now, it's no surprise their album 14 Steps to a Better You went number 1 earlier this year on the ARIA chart, and they had 4 tracks within the Triple J Hottest 100 as well. Tame Impala have picked up 7 nominations for their album The Slow Rush as well. This year's ARIA Awards is going to be a little bit different than others. There will be no audience, and it will air on Channel 9 on Wednesday the 25th of November.
9 are doing it. It used to be on 10, I think.
Yeah, so 9 have taken
Who's
the
hosting
rights
it? Do we
to
know
it.
yet?
We're not sure. We don't even know if it's going to be virtual, so
Daryl
we
Summers.
will see. I don't know if it'll be Daryl Summers.
Oh, you never know.
It could be Ash London. You know, she's doing a lot of stuff at the moment.
And isn't it the year, I think this year has become the year of difference. Everything neutral, everything completely obscure. Like you're talking about independent.
Do you know, I heard a very... Drew Barrymore actually made a really interesting quote the other day. She said, you know, with everything that's gone on in 2020, we should be calling 2020 the year of hindsight.
Yeah.
And 2020 vision, and she likened that, and I thought that was a really interesting way of looking at it.
It's been an interesting year because when you look at the movie, the way that they're rating movies now to do with multiculturalism and all that sort of thing, you've got to tick boxes and make sure if you've got all those categories in your film, you're likely to get more winning movies. You're also likely to get more sponsorship. So it's the year of trying something different.
I think so, and I think we also have to look particularly, and after we look at the ARIA Top 3, I have a quick anecdote for you, which just shows you the way that we're communicating, particularly with social media, how that's now having an impact on movies and music as well.
And can I say to people, you are a specialist in social media, DL Social, and so you know what you're talking about. So let's have a look at the top 3 for this week.
Let's have a look at the ARIA Top 3.
Have they changed?
Not really. Joel Corey and MNEK with Head and Heart. Still at number 3. At number 2, it is Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion with WAP. Not really going very far, still hovering in that. And number 1, 24K Golden with Mood.
Not bad. I like number 3 the best.
Yeah, I think number 3's got a real punch. Now, as I was saying, something interesting. Sitting at number 4 this week on the ARIA charts is Fleetwood Mac's 1979 release of Dreams.
Dream?
Yes. So that has found popularity with the younger audience because of a TikTok video that has gone viral where a guy has been skateboarding to work. His truck broke down, skateboarded to work while drinking ocean spray, and this song has gone massively viral. Mick Fleetwood then created a TikTok in the likes of this original. Yes. That song is now sitting number 4 on the ARIA charts.
I think Carl Stefanovic did one. Yeah. Alison Langdon did one, and I think Channel 7 got on board as well.
There's a few of them that have actually... But look at the power of social media. Correct. You have an iconic song from 79 that is now number 4.
You've got to do one next week. I reckon on a skateboard we'll pull you in the car park with a bottle of the...
Might break my ankles, but why not?
Thank you very much. Demels, as always, you've done a wonderful job this year.
Thank you.
Glad to have you part of the show, and we hope to have you back next year. And hopefully we'll get some ABBA news next year, if we're lucky. Can I also, just before we go to the break, congratulate Basil Zemplis. He's been elected last week as Lord Mayor, or Lord Mayor of Perth, that is. Basil Zemplis from 7 News. And sad to see him leaving 6PR as well. And good luck with whatever you do in your future as well, apart from Lord Mayor. We'll take a break, be back with more of The Couch after this. Marnie Giroux pays us a visit on Wild Things after this. Well done. welcome back to the couch. It's always nice to have our next presenter on set. Her name is Marnie Giroux, and she's got wild things, and we're talking about something very, very interesting today, Marnie.
Thanks, Fred. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Wild Things. Well, it's pretty wild today. My next guest is certainly not as popular as some that I've had on the show over the years. In fact, she puts the fear of God into many people, but I think she's pretty special. Her species hasn't changed for more than 400 million years. Truly remarkable. I do also have another guest with me who is popular with people, and his name is David, and he's from Spineless Wonders, an invertebrate specialist, here to chat scorpions. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Marnie. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming. Look, scorpions, tell us a bit about them. They're pretty crazy animals, aren't they?
Well, they're ancient.
Yep.
They've been around a long, long time. And they are scary for some people, but honestly, I've been keeping them for 22 years now, a number of different sorts, and I'm still alive.
That's a really, really good tip that, you know, it's not too bad.
And I've never been stung, touch wood.
Wow, gosh, and even when you've been handling them as well.
Well, it's not good if you're teaching certain sorts of people, especially young teenage boys, to sort of encourage them to hold things because they can get sucked in by bravado and things can go wrong then.
Of course.
And so I have to be careful about who I'm sort of educating to.
Well, on that, we've got an amazing guest here with me today, and it's Clamps, the gravel or rock scorpion. She's actually my pet, which is really terrific. So I'm a first-time scorpion carer / keeper, and I'm finding it quite interesting. I've had to do a lot of reading. You've lent me some amazing books and given me lots of advice. But can you tell us some of the amazing things about, like, some of their, I guess, behaviours, for instance?
Well, okay, in Australia we don't have any dangerously venomous scorpions.
That's a good point to make.
Our hurtiest scorpions are our small ones, and they wouldn't get much longer than that.
Little tiny ones.
And the characteristic they have, they're called the marble scorpions, and they have a big sting in combination with narrow little claws.
Okay.
Whereas the great majority of Australian scorpions are in a different family, and they have big, strong claws.
Like Clamps, and that's why her name is Clamps.
That's right, exactly.
I
think I sussed that out.
You did.
And it's a good name, I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah, great for kids.
Yeah, definitely.
Clamps. And what they tend to do, the large clawed species, is they depend on their claws to disable their prey.
Okay.
Whereas the sting the venom in the sting is mainly helpful to dissolve the internal muscles and organs of the prey into a soup so they can drink it.
Wowzers.
Because they have a sucking stomach, like a centipede does.
And they are related to spiders, aren't they?
Yes, they are. They have the two-body part, 8-leg plan, but they've got the claws added on the front, which they've stuck with for millions of years. And so those larger scorpions, and our largest scorpion would be in about that long, extended out, and we have quite a large species up your way, in fact, a Chittering way.
Yep.
And it would be, for most people, not much worse than a bee sting.
Okay.
Or less than a bee sting. But you will always get people with any venom, any envenomation, who are hyperallergic.
Yes, okay.
And so
best not to touch, just in case you have an adverse reaction, obviously.
Exactly. And I mean, the professional would grab the scorpion by its sting.
Yep.
Therefore, it can't sting you, obviously.
I've seen meerkats do that on documentaries in Africa where they disable the scorpion's sting first, which is pretty cool.
Well, overseas, I think there are something like 25 species that are classed as dangerously venomous.
Right, okay.
And we, I would say, are lucky. We have that family here, the little marble scorpions, but almost all those scorpions that are dangerously venomous overseas, and you can roughly split them into Africa and Middle East, and then the other block is the New World, South America and the southern part of America.
Okay.
So they grow, the Buthidae, which are the marble scorpion family, much bigger over there.
Okay, well this guy does, all of the scorpions do fluoresce, and we're just going to get the guys to dim the lights, which I think they've just done for us. Oh, there we go. So you can see clamps is actually fluorescing under a UV light, and that's quite amazing. Scientists still don't know why they do it, but it is quite a great way to actually find them in the bush, isn't it?
Yes, well, they stick out like proverbial, you know what.
They sure do.
And what happens is I have camped in a place at Sharp Bay called Useless Loop.
Oh yes, I've heard of that.
And the only place we could find to camp was the dump at Useless Loop, where all things the salt companies dump that are useless end up at Useless Loop dump.
Well, Clamps wouldn't belong there, would she? Because she's beautiful and very useful, especially for education. And we are going to have to leave it there, unfortunately. But Dave, we want to have you back on. Let's hear about your amazing journeys around the state, because you certainly see a lot of things, unlike scorpions, but a lot of other moths and other species. But we do have to leave it there. So thank you very much for coming on today.
You're welcome.
Guys, if you would like any more information about scorpions and other amazing animals, check out spinelesswonders.com.au. And if you missed that, check out our website, thecount.com.au. Thanks so much for joining us for scary animals, although we know now that they're not too scary. Back to you, Fred.
Thank you very much, Money. They're not scary at all. As long as they're in the little container, I think we're all safe. Thank you very much to David as well for coming in. We will have him back on again. He's got interesting stories, lots for us to learn. And thank you to Marnie as well for this year too. We haven't seen you much, but we've seen you a few times. So hopefully next year we'll see more of Marnie. Don't forget, folks, you can always watch our show online on our Facebook page, because it is amazing. You'll get extra segments on the show, and we'd love your feedback as well as always. And don't forget, Foxtel now here in Perth. We're 1 hour earlier due to daylight savings. At 7:30, you can pick up the couch. Thank you very much. Now it's time to introduce our next guest. It is, of course, Dr. Joe, and he is back on the couch with our very own Nisha. Over to you.
Thank you, Fred. Welcome back to the couch, Dr. Joe Kosterich.
Nisha, great to be with you again today.
We always talk about really interesting topics, and today we're talking about pain management, which is a really important one for many people.
Look, it's estimated that there are 3 million people in Australia with chronic pain, and something in the order of 1 in 5 over the age of 45. And these are some surveys done by, in fact, Chronic Pain Australia back in June, July. In America, that figure is closer to 100 million people. And we also know at the same time that whilst opiate painkillers can be effective as pain relief, they are addictive, can have significant side effects, and there is a not insignificant toll of people who die from prescription drug overdose. Sometimes intentional, but sometimes unintentional. And it's not to say that these medications can't or shouldn't be used, but what we have seen over the last 20 years is that reliance on them has its own set of problems. So looking at other ways of managing and improving pain perception, this work in America showed that people who underwent an 8-week course of mindfulness meditation and a form of yoga training, 89% of these people, 89%, nearly 9 in 10, reported improvements in their pain perception. Now, that's not the same as saying, oh, all my pain is gone, everything's fantastic.
Perception's the key, right? You've said that,
their quality of life was improved, and their pain experience was better as well. Now, in turn, that may mean that some of these people may not need as much by way of medication.
And I think for anyone who's had pain, pain psychology is a huge area, so it impacts everything from the way that we think, the way that we feel. It's like a lens, the way we see the world. So it is important that you sort of mix a number of therapies, not just your traditional sort of science and medications, but you're talking about behavioural as well as, Eastern medicine, different methodologies.
Yeah, look, I'm not sure we'd call mindfulness Eastern medicine.
Oh, no, sorry, I wasn't referencing Eastern.
Even yoga. I think it's sometimes we want to medicalise everything and somehow any any intervention or any form of treatment or anything we might do to improve our symptoms has to be looked at through a medical prism. Well, if you're doing some regular exercise, which we also know is very, very good for pain, about 3 years ago, the Australian Institute of Safety and Health in Medicine came out and recommended for knee osteoarthritis that people do more exercise. We know also that for people with osteoarthritis of the knee, every 1 kilogram of weight that's lost, so if they can lose a kilogram, that's equivalent to 4 kilograms less force going through your knee when you're walking or exercising. And people can exercise in water as well because there's less load on the body. So these don't have to be seen as medical treatments.
No.
You know, it's a little bit like if you're not feeling all that bright, you go outside and the sky is blue. It's not a medical treatment, but you feel a little bit better. So we want to move away from everything has to be medicalised to what can I do to improve my own health and my own well-being, and this was where a lot of these modalities fit in.
That's fantastic that there's an opening in the medical field around this as well. A lot of alternate therapies or alternative options. Mindfulness has been around for a while, but there were other ones that you've sort of mentioned prior to the show. What are some other treatments that are having effect?
Well, as mentioned before, that the yoga can be useful for people with back pain. Pilates can be useful. Other work also out of America looking at veterans who are undergoing surgery and underwent acupuncture before surgery. And interestingly, in the 2 studies they did, the amount of medication required after, this is opiate medication, after the surgery went down by variably half and 2/3. This is significant numbers. A lot of them also reported improvements in how much nausea they experienced. So these studies, they're not absolutely the last word, and it's important to remember that not everything works for everybody every time. So it's important for people to find what works for them, but it's also important to be open, saying, well, what might work for me? What can I try? What can I engage in?
Absolutely, the mindset is very important.
That may help me, and the worst thing that can happen, the absolute worst thing that can happen is it doesn't do a lot. You think, well, I've tried it.
Yeah, absolutely. So from a psychology perspective, mental preparation is really important for pain management, which is a lot of what you're talking about with these alternative options.
Look, very much. And sleep is a factor in this too. If people sleep better, their pain perception is better. And also how people view it. I mean, the classic example is probably sports players. Now, they will put up with a significant amount of pain and want to get back on the field almost at all costs. And that, possibly has its own set of problems.
Imagine.
But there is at one end of the spectrum, and at the other end of the spectrum, people who can become quite dominated by, any degree of discomfort. So everybody's different. It's not to say one is right and one is wrong, but it is to say that we can see with human beings that how we feel about what we experience can be, in some instances, as important as what we experience.
So wonderful to hear that there's mounting evidence in this space, because I know that with depression and anxiety as well, there's reduction in symptomology with all of those practices that you've mentioned. So we can see the trajectory. I guess just in terms of the audience, what would you encourage them to do if they're going to see their GP for a pain management plan?
It is about saying what can I do to improve my well-being. So in addition to medication, and a lot of people do want to get off medications. There are a couple in particular that I see people come in and say, look, I don't like taking this. It's helping my pain. I don't want to give any names, but I want to get off it if I can.
Sure.
So understanding that it doesn't all have to be medically driven, that diet can be useful, regular exercise, deep breathing exercises. We spoke about the importance of sleep, forms such as yoga, mindfulness training, guided relaxations. You can get apps. If you don't want to go to a mindfulness class, you can get mindfulness apps. And just, for want of a better term, play around with it to see what works for you.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, Dr. Joe, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show, and I love the holistic approach to health. Where can people find out more if they want to get in contact?
If they want to come to the website, it's drjoetoday.com, and if they click on there, then there's the links to the socials, and they can sign up for the fortnightly newsletter, and we still have some copies of the DIY health book available if people want to order those.
Wonderful. Well, look forward to having you back on the show at some stage soon, but have a lovely holiday break over Christmas as well if we don't see you before.
Thanks indeed, Nisha.
Okay, so if you've missed any of that at all, you can go to thecouch.com.au, of course, our Facebook page as well. But for now, it's back to you, Fred.
Thank you very much to Nisha and Dr. Joe. And of course, Dr. Joe is a normal doctor, so he does have a practice, and you can get in touch with him through that website as well if you want to go and see him personally. He'd love to see you. He's probably very busy, but I've just given him another million patience. That's okay. Thank you very much for coming on the show, and it's been wonderful having you both here. Now, can I just say to you, we need to take a quick break. Coming up after the break, and more of The Couch, lots of fun, lots of guests coming up right after this. Stay tuned. Welcome back to The Couch. As always, we love to bring people on that deserve promotion. This next organisation are doing something amazing. They're called Inspiring Radio. They're helping people through COVID, but beyond COVID as well. All around Australia or just here in WA. Nisha's got Inspire Radio in, a couple of them anyway, on The Couch. Over to you, Nisha.
Yes, Fred, we were trying to fit everyone on, but unfortunately we couldn't fit on the couch. Mental health and wellbeing, as we know, is important to focus on, and these guys are doing a great job from a proactive perspective. I'd like to welcome both Owen and Gabby to the couch.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Health and wellbeing for both of you, I know from talking to you earlier, is an inner passion. So can you tell us first, Gabby, perhaps about Inspire Radio?
Okay, so Inspire Radio was started by our station managers, Tristan, about 6 months ago when COVID started, and it was to bring people together to find a way that people who are suffering from mental health problems had someone to listen to who was relatable. Tristan, our station manager, has had a lot of work in mental health, so he wanted to bring what he knew and get together a group of people from all different areas to just get out there, spread the word and be inspiring, and that's our biggest goal, is to help people.
Wonderful. And from having a look at your team, there's already diversity within your team, not just from lived experience, but from gender and age and so forth.
Yes.
So that's obviously really important. And I know that Owen next to you has his lived experience as well and loves sharing stories and working with the community. Tell us why you're involved with Inspire Radio.
I'm involved with Inspire Radio because to me it's been given a gift, you know, to work with the community once again through my last outlay with the homeless people all over Perth and WA. So to come in here and to be asked as a genuine guy that has lived experiences, that's come through the hard yards of such a diversity of life and all that multiple problems that is achieved. And I'm pretty good because I just retired. I turned 66 the other day.
Not retired anymore.
So I'm still hanging in there, you know. So, but with the diversity that Tristan is doing it with Inspired Radio, that's where I'm very keen and switched on about, you know.
And that human connection is so important, and you do that over radio. So, Gabby, you're a presenter, and what do you do, Owen, on the radio?
I'm the ambassador. I'm the good-looking one.
I love his openness.
Really?
Keep it real.
Keep it real.
You're both beautiful, because beauty is within, without, and all around. Yes.
We actually run a show. Actually, my co-host and I, Rhea, actually run a show called Keep It Real at Inspire Radio. So our show is actually all about just being yourself, staying true to yourself, and it's okay. It's okay to be perfectly imperfect.
How wonderful to have that conversation so openly. So what types of guests have you had on? Give us a flavour of
okay.
the show.
We'll start with the biggest one that Rhea and I had, which was Mark Mcgowan. He was amazing. We've had Mark McGowan, we've had Matt Gresham, who is a local Rockingham musician. You're quite well known on The Voice and The X Factor, I believe. We've had a lot of organisations. So we've had Share the Dignity. We've had what else? We had the National Organisation for Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder. We had WA ADHD last week. We're going to have a professor on tomorrow who is representing the Book Council of Australia in recognition of Book Week. We've talked about dyslexia awareness. We openly are honest about our own problems. So, not problems, but our own things that we deal with. So I suffer from high anxiety. My co-host has ADHD, but that makes us fun. So we're both very energetic and we're very relatable.
Yeah.
But we've got shows from presenters who do shows about sports. We've got rock and roll. We are a real variety and it's just absolutely awesome. And we've actually formed a family. So we all go to each other. We all talk to each other. We've all got the one goal in mind that we want to help people. And we've got all different careers and all different paths and it's just the perfect mix. There's just no discrimination there from any of us.
And I can sense already like the vulnerability to be able to be vulnerable and to talk openly about your own mental health, that shared space. Very safe. I know, Owen, you were mentioning earlier that you create this safe environment so you can help the community, and you actually go pound the pavement, I think they say. Hopefully I got that saying right.
Yeah, exactly right. For the last 8 years I used to walk the streets of Perth and helping people on the streets in Perth, and just doing the right thing and connecting them up into the organisations for help for homelessness. So I bring that into Inspired Radio. I'm out there, I'm amongst the public, they all know who I am. Last year I had the beautiful chance of, I won the Citizen of the Year in Rockingham last year. So that was pretty good out of 255,000 people, and I thought that was such an honourable thing. But it wasn't actually me that won, it was my people. So inspire people now, that's my people. It doesn't matter where you come from or what background you are. These are my people, so I work just as hard for Insider Inspired Radio as an ambassador and a director to give the experiences, strength and hope that we may be able to solve a lot of these common problems that are actually going through mental health right down to people on the streets and with the diversity of things that are actually happening in WA.
And I really feel, as you're talking, and yourself as well, Gabby, is this energy, and I'm sure everyone at home is feeling it as well. What's next for Inspire Media? I can sense there's more you want to do.
We've got big plans. So we've already had people come to us and say to us, you've helped me so much. Just listening to you, our listener numbers are growing so quickly, and it's quite amazing. I think it's sort of taken us a little bit aback because we're like, oh my gosh, we've grown so fast, and it moves us that we want to help people. That's what we want to do, and I've got kids, so my kids are really proud of me, and so it's Ria's daughter, and that's what is important to us. We are going to be real. We're going to bring something back to the community. The radio station is just a platform to get the message out. But if we're going to be a radio station, we're going to be a radio station with a difference to make. You won't see the last of us. We're going to be in your face. That's what we're all about. It's being there and just making a difference in everyone's lives.
Well, I think, you don't need to convince any of us, the energy in the room. You're very, from a collaborative point of view, you're really about connecting with the community, not just on radio, but then partnering with other not-for-profit organisations as well. So I think if you're sitting out there and you're thinking that this messaging, you're in that proactive wellbeing space, then getting in touch with you guys is definitely the way to go. Gabby, perhaps can you look down the camera and let our team know and all our audience know where to find out more?
Sure. So you can head on over to www.inspireradio.org.au. We are also available on Facebook and Instagram, and we are happy to hear from you. We want to hear your stories. We want to get the message out. Don't be frightened. It's so much fun. We love our job.
And we also, our office is Unit 1, number 10, Leghorn Street, Rockingham. Feel free to just pop in. I'll make you a cup of coffee. It only takes 2 minutes to answer a telephone or answer the front door and help you and show you through our beautiful offices. So don't be afraid to just come and knock on the door, because we are looking for more volunteers to come to and fill roles, ministerial roles and all that type of jazz. So feel comfortable. We've got a great team, and our station manager Tristan is one of the nicest guys that you can ever meet.
So nice.
To value. He has a great value on everything that he puts in there. And I'll just revert back into last week at Coburn shopping centre. There was a lady came up and said to Tristan, "Thank you for saving my daughter's life." Wow. That was one of the biggest things I'd heard this year through COVID, and on the streets of COVID we'd lost quite a few gentlemen through COVID, and they called the invisible homeless. Now, after this young mother came up and spoke to her young daughter about how this was possible, within 12 months that Tristan had saved this lady's life, so that was really nice.
Oh, and I think it's amazing, like the beautiful stories that we hear. So I think what's going to be really important is we're going to get you back on the couch. I'm going to hear some more of these. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us. It's been a pleasure. Amazing.
We'll have you back very soon.
It's
Thank you. So if you've missed anything at all, you can go to thecouch.com.au. But of course, you can find us on Facebook like these guys too. But back to you now, Fred.
Thank you very much to Gabby and to Owen. Owen, unfortunately, we won't be able to use the segment now. You've gone way over time. We have to edit it right down, cut your bit out.
Cut it out and then forget about me.
I've learned a few things here. I've learned that you're 66 and retired. Had you stayed on, you could have got JobKeeper.
Yes.
You could have done well. 9 to 12, Gabby, you're on on a Monday.
9 to 12 and Wednesday.
And I've got a new name for the station, Real People, Real Radio. And I love the sense of community, teaching kids about working in the community. And it takes you 2 minutes to make a coffee. So if you don't mind, 4 minutes for my coffee, please, because I want milk and 2 sugars. Inspire Radio doing wonderful things. I know we've run out of time. We'll take a break. Be back with Fresh and Local straight after this. Well done, guys.
Connect with The Couch online through Facebook, Instagram and YouTube.
Welcome back to The Couch. Time to talk questionable with our very own Simone Springer. Welcome back, Simone. You've got a couple of guests for us as well.
I sure do. Today I've got Joe White and Rory Lowe. Thank you so much for being here. Today the question is COVID the worst thing that's happened in 2020? And I thought it was, but then we had murder hornets, so who knows? Joe, what do you think? Do you think that COVID-19 is the worst thing that's happened this year?
As an ex-refugee, I would say yes, absolutely, 100%. Purely because my older brother, who's stuck in Ethiopia at the moment due to the airport's closing.
Oh yeah.
And so he went for 2 months, and it's been 9 months now, and he can't come back. So it's been a mission and a half.
Yep.
And I've had to send him money, obviously, because he's run out of money now. And it's very costly, so he's become the most expensive Ethiopian kid I've had to sponsor.
That is rough. Oh my gosh. What about you, Rory? What do you think? Is it the worst thing that's happened?
I think it's, for me, it's been pretty good, to be honest. I have this scam running where I've been posing as an Ethiopian kid. And I've been making a lot of money, actually.
Is your surname White? Yeah. That's great. So you're doing quite well. Excellent. There's so much that has happened this year. There was Donald Trump got impeached, but then he got acquitted. George Floyd's death had sparked the Black Lives Matter movement, and that was like in the middle of the pandemic. Ellen, she almost got cancelled. That one's probably only bad for her. But so much has happened. What's your 2 worst things that have happened this year? Top 2, worldwide.
Worldwide. To be honest, I'm still traumatized about having to send my brother money. So that has literally impacted my whole 2020 and potentially 2021.
But you just moved over or moved back from... You just moved back from Victoria. How was that? Was that...
I'm not giving it back.
Was it positive getting to move back to Perth, or...?
It's definitely positive. Oh my God. As soon as, because I was indoors for like 6 months in Melbourne, and the first 3 months of isolation, you're like, nah, this will pass, so I'll just stick to my routine, go get some sun, train, come back, watch TV, whatever. And then 6 months later, you're like, I'm gonna go protest. I can't be indoors. So you start to sort of lose that, sanity. And so coming back was amazing.
So yeah,
like, oh my God, people are outside. I started Snapchatting them.
Yeah, if you have to protest just to get out, something's definitely gone wrong for the year. So what about you? What's your top 2 worst?
My granddad died, which was a bit of a shame. But my family's very positive about certain things. Oh, thank you. Put it towards the funeral. But my family's very positive, and they're very funny about everything. For example, he was a carpenter, and we were all carrying we were all pallbearing, carrying the coffin, and my uncle just tapped on the top of the coffin and went, he'd be turning in his grave if he knew we'd be burying him in this. So it's it brought my family closer together. So as much as it was a bad thing, it was great. And I also got a haircut that was just terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Cut up all the back of my neck. They messed up my head, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is a very significantly worse than COVID-19. I totally agree with you. Now, there were lots of people this year who had a good year. Anybody who decided to do a startup company for hand sanitizer, anyone selling toilet paper, great year. Other than those people and psychopaths who enjoy carnage, who else do you think loved this year?
I would say all the tech companies, all the online streaming companies, so like Netflix, Amazon, porn sites, just all of them would have made a killing.
There were a lot of people stuck at home.
Yeah. So
I reckon it was the Karens.
The Karen.
The Karens. 2020 was all about the Karen. They got a voice now.
They've got something to complain about as well.
All about it, man. They're at Bunnings, they're burning masks, they're loving 2020. It's their favourite time.
It's bad if your name is Karen though, and you aren't a Karen.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, I think there's some Karens going into witness protection, changing their names.
No baby has been called Karen since the start of the year.
They should just do what I did and change their name to Joe White.
It was great for Mark Mcgowan too, the WA Premier. Nobody knew who he was until this year, and now he's on the news having a beer, and we're like, wow, he's so relatable.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who was he before this?
He was always a champion.
Yeah, that's
We
it.
just didn't see the trophies until now.
It's true. I bet every time his wife walks down the road, everyone applauds.
Do you guys have a favourite thing that's happened this year? Are we allowed to be positive about 2020?
I do have one. Like, I'm glad that I'm back in Perth, and I'm staying with my mum, so I get to see my mum again.
Yeah.
The only issue.
Your mum online. Your videos with her are amazing. Everybody needs to go check that out, Joe White.
She's loving it. So I can't, stay with her, and the only issue now is just arguing with her about Ethiopian Airlines and how my brother can't come back. She thinks they're the best and have the highest safety rate, but I tell her that's because 80% of their flights don't take off. And the last time I was involved in a crash, was hit by a car. So.
Oh my God.
Bad time, yeah.
Rory, what about you? Do you have a favourite thing?
Hopefully it'll be my show in 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Because, no one else could tour, and so there's a lot of open space for theatres, so I was fortunate enough to take advantage of that situation, and we're doing a theatre show, so...
Yes, so where is that? That's at the Astor?
Yeah, Astor Theatre, November 7th. And yeah, hopefully we'll sell out and trick Netflix into buying it.
Amazing. So what do you guys think? Is 2020, in 2020, COVID-19, was it the worst thing that happened this year?
I would say yes.
I'd say no. I think it forced a lot of change. And a lot of things have been sped up, like the protests and people's certain careers. A lot of things have been uncomfortable, and they've forced things to change. And I think that's a good thing. Obviously people have died, and that's awful, but the world's changed, and that could be for the better.
And also your haircut, that was also quite bad. All I know is Gwyneth Paltrow this year brought out a candle that smelt like lady bits, and if that's not the worst thing that happened in 2020, I don't know what is. Thank you both for joining me, Joe White and Rory Lowe, and back to you, Fred.
Thank you very much. And if you want more information about Simone, we've got a website for Simone. You can actually check out her website. I think we've got it on screen. There it is there. Please check her out and give us some more work. It's not that she's not busy enough. Can I ask a quick question before we leave the segment? For comedians, when is the right time to make COVID jokes?
Now.
Straight away.
Do you reckon it's okay now to get away with them?
3 months ago.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that, because I'm expecting all the COVID jokes to come out very, very soon, because it hasn't ended yet, and I know some people are sort of a bit scared to make COVID jokes. They look at you and they sort of go, was that too early? Yeah. So you reckon it's okay to do it now?
I think so. I've been going out and I've noticed there's a lot of guys now with longer hair and longer beards. Like, I can't tell anymore who's cool or who's just unemployed. I've already been using that one on stage. That's my first COVID joke. You're welcome.
Fantastic comedians, fantastic lady comedian. Thank you very much to Simone Springer. She's a wonderful lady, and she'll be back next year with more of Questionable on the Couch. We're going to take a very quick break. We've got a fantastic interview with a wonderful author called AJ Betts coming up very, very soon. But we'll take a break and be back with more of The Couch after this. Welcome back to The Couch. Time to talk books. We've got an amazing author in the studio today. A few weeks ago, I got to record an interview with Amanda Betts, or known as AJ Betts, and she's an amazing local author. She's a teacher here in WA, and she's got an amazing imagination for writing books, and we've got her here today. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Amanda, it was a pleasure to do the interview for Victorian Education, but I thought we'd have you back because one thing I'm absolutely positive about is our West Australian viewers will love to have your books on their shelves coming up to Christmas especially. So let's get straight into it. Tell us a little bit about you first.
Okay, a bit about me. I live here in WA, down near Freo. I was originally born in Queensland, but when I discovered WA, it was just too good to return back to Queensland. I've travelled a lot, and I've been writing my whole life. I've always been an avid reader and writer. And my first book was published in 2008 by Fremantle Press, and since then I've had 4 other novels published with different publishers, and I manage, part-time teaching, as you say, and part-time writing, and a fair bit of travel when I can as well.
I have to say, the thing that struck me about you as an author, and I'll be very honest, I've had a lot of authors in the studio, and I have to say, they've been quite boring. When I met you, I thought, wow, she's actually dynamic. When I listened to your storytelling or about your book, and I actually was, I was just taken in, and I wanted to hear more. So I'm going to talk to everybody about your books. Let's talk about Zach and Mia first. What's that book about?
So this is my 3rd novel. It's probably my most famous novel. It's been published around the world in different languages, and it was picked up in 2014 by a Hollywood production company. So it was made into a TV show in the States. So I got to go to LA, got to go to Hollywood for a couple of times, and was even an extra in the show. So it's amazing to see it go so well on the global stage. But what it's about, it's a very local story, in fact, and is inspired by real life. So I mentioned I'm a part-time teacher, and I actually work in the hospital here, Perth Children's Hospital. Right. Yeah, I work with...
what do you do there?
Yeah, I'm a high school English teacher. So there's a school there with teachers, primary teachers, secondary teachers, and I'm an English drama teacher. Yep. And I work on different wards, but there was a period of 6 years where I worked on the cancer ward, and that's where Zach and Mia came from.
You. And for those people who over east who are saying, she works at a hospital. Of course, you've got a lot of sick children that are based there for a long period of time, so they need to have education, and they've got a real person there. So fantastic. Now, we spoke about Hive, didn't we, and Rogue?
We did.
So which one should we go first? Should we go Rogue?
Let's go Hive.
Oh, Hive,
that's the first one.
Tell me about this one, because I thought this was the one. Is this the one we did the interview for education?
It's the creepy, mysterious book. It's nothing like Zach and Mia.
Tell me how you got to write this one.
Well, everyone asks me where my ideas come from, and they come from strange, unusual, unexpected places, things I overhear or things I find. This one was something I saw while driving through the Graham Farmer Freeway Tunnel.
Tell us that story.
In 2005. So I was simply driving home. It was peak hour traffic. It was really slow. It was raining outside. It was a Friday afternoon. And I'm just... the mind wanders sometimes, and being bored is a good thing. Sometimes being stuck in traffic and allowing your mind to wander is a good thing. But so I was, and I noticed something unexpected. I noticed a drip of water coming from the ceiling of the Graham Farmer Freeway Tunnel, and I thought, that's strange. I mean, it had been raining, so I knew that rain must have leaked through. I realised that the tunnel was not going to collapse and kill us all, because I trust the engineers to build a tunnel to withstand rain. But because I'm a storyteller, I started wondering, in what situation would that be a problem? Because stories always start with problems. And I thought, well, what if this wasn't the Graham Farmer Freeway Tunnel I was in right now? What if I was in an underwater tunnel, like the one under the Sydney Harbour Bridge, or the channel between England and France? What if right now I was in my car in an underwater tunnel and I saw a drip? And I thought that would be more scary, because there's a chance that the pressure might cause it to crack, and that it will flood and everyone will die. And
well, how did that lead you to writing The Hive?
Well, I wanted to expand that. So what I do as a novelist, as a creative person, I guess, I get that situation, that what-if situation, and I make it more and more dramatic. So I thought, rather than being in an underwater tunnel, I thought, what if I lived in an underwater city and I found a drip? And I thought that was interesting, but I wanted to make it even more mysterious. So what I came up with was, what if I lived in an underwater city, but I didn't know that I lived in an underwater city?
So how did you get there?
Exactly. I don't know. So I drove home that day thinking, how do you live in an underwater city? Not know you live in an underwater city. So basically years later I started it, because at the time I was busy on my first novel. But when I came to it, I had to work out the backstory. Why do 300 people live in an underwater city?
Correct.
Well, how do they not know? Well, there's no windows. So if there are no windows or doors, if you think the world ends at your walls, how would you imagine there's anything else? So that's where it begins.
Do you follow the life of one or two people, or three people? Or is there many characters in the book?
So there are 300 people living there, but of course we need one main character, and her name is Hayley. She's 15. She's the beekeeper, because besides humans, there's one type of animal down there, and that's bees. And she finds the drip she's in a part of the world she shouldn't be. She finds it and she's a bit perturbed by it because water should not be dripping. So she's the main character. She's got a best friend called Celia. There are other characters who come in and out of it, but it's really
There's a lot that happens in those 300 people's lives, doesn't it? Underwater.
Absolutely, and they've been down there. So here's a little bit of the backstory. They've been down there since 2020. So this book actually begins 100 years from now. But because of it, I won't tell you too many spoilers, but there's a threat to humanity in 2020. It's not COVID because I wrote this a number of years ago. So I wish it would...
But if you wanted to think of
I know.
COVID,
okay, you can go with that. But there's another threat. There's another threat in 2020 which causes... it prompts people to... some people to take like a sanctuary in safe houses or bunkers, and this underwater structure, which is a seed vault that exists off the coast of Tasmania, is used as a temporary human bunker. But of course, they don't get the message to come up when it's safe, and life continues. And the book starts 100 years from now, where knowledge has been lost. They don't know they're underwater. As I said, there are no windows, and they've got a successfully, thriving community down there, and everything is well until page 1 when Hayley finds the drip, which is about to eventually change everything.
And that would do. Now, the book has been out for how long?
That came out in 2018, so just 2 years.
Let's extend the segment because I know we want to talk about this one here. It's called Rogue.
Well, this is the sequel. This is
the
a two-book. Yes, yeah. So Hive ends on a cliffhanger, and again, I won't tell you what that is, but it ends on a cliffhanger. I thought, I can't do that to my readers. I can't leave it there. So I wanted to write the sequel. Now, I can't say too much without giving too many spoilers, but Rogue takes place in a different place.
So we're taking off where we left off in the previous book, Hive.
It's like that.
It's an instant.
It flows straight into it.
So if you've read the first book, which is Hive, you're going to be wanting to carry on.
You want to know what happens to her. So she finds herself somewhere else. And let's just say this is more of a dystopian, post-apocalyptic kind of Australia in the future. And it's much more of an action-adventure story with Hayley. So the two books work together as a whole book.
So tell me the type of person who would love this book. What sort of people are you targeting? Who are your listeners? I know everybody.
Thank you.
If we sort of... Because I'm not a book person. I did say that to Amanda. But I absolutely got dragged into the story. I think it's an amazing story. I think it's a wonderful book. But the type of people that you've written the book for was initially what type of people? What, women, males, age group?
I write for myself first and foremost. I want to write a good story. It's marketed as young adult fiction, so anyone from 11 up really. And it's studied in a number of schools already here. A number of schools in Victoria and New South Wales are picking it up, and Brisbane are picking it up as a study text. But I don't write just for teenagers. I mean, the main character is 15.
Well, the book would suit any age.
Oh, some of my biggest fans are in their 70s and 80s. They absolutely love it. So it's not even for people who specifically like, say, sci-fi or dystopian novels. It feels very much like a realistic novel.
That word dystopian as well. We were having a discussion this morning about utopia means where everything's great, isn't it? Dystopia?
Bad place.
The opposite.
It roughly means bad place. So you think of films like Mad Max or Blade Runner or even The Hunger Games. They live in a future which is pretty negative. Yeah, something's gone wrong.
So would you say your last two books, Hive and Rogue, are they dystopia?
See, you can if you won't, but I don't want to write a specific dystopia or utopia because in my mind, we are all living in a mix, really, aren't we?
I think so. And I guess it depends on your outlook. I could think this world is utopia. In your opinion, you might think it's dystopia. So I always say leave it up to the reader. If you've got any doubts, read the books because it could be just exactly what you wanted. Now, what will they get out of the book Rogue? What do you hope? Is there going to be another one?
Oh, no, that's the end. I have had a number of requests for a third, but I really like the way that it ends. So people who read Hive really love the mystery and the intensity and the writing and the tension. People and then they go to Rogue and they love the Australianness of the locations. and they love the tension and mystery again, and the pace is actually quite fast as well. But
would you ever see them being written into
yes.
maybe a TV
Yes.
movie or a movie in general?
Of all 5 novels, as you know, but of all of them, Hive and Rogue, I think, lend themselves far more to the screen. And I wrote them as if imagining them, and I could totally imagine them as perhaps not as 2 films, but as 1 film, with Hive beginning and then Rogue continuing.
Yeah, look, I think Hive could be easily a computer game as well. One of those games that kids love to play.
I've had some kids make it into a Minecraft game, like they've taken the Hive world and make... Yeah, so I'm getting wonderful responses from readers.
And if you're locked in Victoria or anywhere in Australia and you can't get out at the moment, it would make an amazing read. At least you'd be in utopia reading a great story. Look, you are a wonderful talent. You're a wonderful author. You're dynamic. You'd make a great PR agent, because a lot of authors are great writers, but don't always have the greatest personalities for whatever reason, or they're not extroverts. You are both. You're an extrovert plus a great author. It's a great read. Where can people get your books from? What's your website?
Thank you for saying all of these things. Well, they're in all good bookstores and they're online.
And there's your website too.
Yeah, I've got ajbetts.com. I'm there, and, on Instagram, the usual.
On screen right now.
But yeah, I think a lot of the time as a writer, I'm very much an introvert and very much a hermit, just in my bubble. But I get so excited talking about stories in general. But of course, these stories, and they're very close to my heart.
They're very personal, aren't they?
I'm happy to answer any questions about them.
And can we see there being another book, not following on, but are you already thinking about another storyline?
Oh, I'm on draft 2 already of my next book. This is about I don't have a working title.
Okay.
Titles are the worst. But it's about a teenage rock band in Perth. They're trying to record a song. So I'm having a lot of fun. It's about 5 teenagers in one space. And again, it's quite filmic as well. I could imagine this being a really cool film.
You are a wonderful person. Amanda, a pleasure to have you here today. AJ Betts, or Amanda Betts as we know her here. She's a wonderful teacher, author. Her books, Rogue, Hive, and look out for Zach and Mia as well. That's only 3 of them. There are another 2 books, aren't there? What are they called, Amanda?
My first one's called Shutter Speed, and my second one is called Wavelength.
Wavelength. Check out her website. We put it up on screen. We will have you back when you do the next book.
Okay,
you have yourself a wonderful Christmas. Please buy the book. It's fantastic. It's probably going to be a good read, and you're supporting West Australian author as well that's doing some great things. Thanks for being on The Couch.
Thank you for having me.
We will take a break. More of The Couch coming up right after this.
Connect with The Couch online through Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Welcome back to The Couch. Just having a look at this Joey Zaza's catering list. Amazing people, They're here in Perth. They're at St George's Terrace in Perth, actually, open from 7 a.m. in the morning. Do amazing boss sandwiches, catering, cakes, amazing coffee if you love coffee. And I believe they're doing meatballs today on set with our very own Nisha. So it's over to you. Keep your hands off my meatballs.
Thank you so much, Fred. It's always a pleasure to have Michelle back on The Couch, or the Fresh and Local segment.
Thank you for having us.
And Rosalind, welcome. Your first time. We're very excited. So today we're talking about your boss sandwiches. We're making your sandwiches, which is exciting. And Rosalind's come along to add the legacy, because there's a lot of culture and a lot of love and passion and history that has gone into the meatballs, the sauce, and what is now the boss sandwich. So Michelle, we've met you, and I want to make sure though that we introduce Rosalind appropriately too, because she's someone very special to you.
Yes, Nonna is amazing. So Nonna was a bit of an inspiration behind our Nonna's famous meatballs, as well as the Mean Boss Parma. The sauce that we've been lucky to try and have for the last, well, me personally, the last 8 years.
Lucky lady.
10 years, 10 years.
Well, time flies.
Yes. Has made it very hard for me to eat Italian out. So Joe and I, when coming up with Joey Zaza's, we wanted to give Perth a bit of a taste of what it would be like to sit at our family table.
Beautiful. Lovely. So there's a lot of legacy. Let's get started because we've got 3 stages today. We're going to have the opportunity to see how we mix and go through the ingredients, and we have the sandwiches too we're going to make up as well. So perhaps Nonna, if I can call you that too, as a part of the Couch family now. Do you want to talk us through?
So here we have the mince, the breadcrumbs, which have to be soft, and freshly grounded, not from the packet, and the cheese. So, and you have to blend it all nice and fine.
Beautiful. And I'm just going to tilt that up there a little bit too. Maybe you can help me there, Michelle.
Sure. All nice and fine.
On camera. And you've got separate ingredients there. Let's go through
Now
those.
we put our basil. Basil.
Beautiful.
And garlic that my husband grows, fresh garlic.
Lovely, yeah.
Doesn't taste the same as the supermarket garlic.
Yes, they'd be very,
And
very organic.
And the sauce that we've made.
This sauce is the most amazing sauce. It took me so many years to master this sauce.
And this is the sauce that we've been brewing here
Yes,
as well, so we'll
that's
talk through that in a moment. Okay, what's next, Nana?
Then we break the eggs.
And there's more than 2 eggs in it.
You know, in this amount that's enough.
Is
but
it?
Yes, because this is not
Ooh.
500. So then we get the big mix.
I love that. Made with love. You don't have this set, you know, I followed ingredients as I was learning to cook, and Nana, now you probably know exactly how much goes in.
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
right.
any measurement.
Well, I only used to do them by judgment till they started the shop. They wanted
volume.
We were like, no, I can't write this recipe like this. You need to give me teaspoons and cups and exact measurements. So we watched.
Lovely. And you can see the colour coming in there as well. And I'm going to start to roll.
Now this is all ready. Now we can take we'll roll from here.
Okay, wonderful. So we've got 3 stages. What have we got there? We're going to start the roll. Any tricks with rolling? Because I think you've been doing this for decades now, Nana, so you'll be able to teach us how to do it properly. Wonderful. So you've got a nice amount there. Not too big, not too small. Fred, I have not touched the meatballs yet. Told us to keep our hands off the meatballs. So rolling, I can see what you're doing there already is a bit of a technique. Anything to look out for?
Just
make sure they stick together.
Nana's meatballs are a lot rounder than our meatballs. And she was looking at my meatballs just earlier and they're displeasing look, but they do taste the same.
That's how we get better. Wonderful. So we've got a couple there and we've got 6 already on show, and I didn't think Fred could stay seated for much longer.
I like to call you Nonna because Nonna makes you sound old. It's Rosalind, boss.
Yes.
I call you the boss. Rosalind,
So
when
there
my
they
mum
are.
made the meatballs, I always say Popetti.
Yeah, but
Wait, she used to put, was it parsley?
yeah, I
Did
put
you
the
put some-
basil.
Oh, I
I put
wanted
the
to make
basil.
sure you did it right.
Yeah, there they are.
They
basil.
look beautiful.
Yeah, there they
What's
go.
the most important ingredient in good Popetti?
Well, firstly, good mince. You know, good. You know, and
Get it from Coles, Australian beef with not too much fat.
And you know, we go to our local, you know,
The real butcher, like Reese.
Italian butcher, you know.
Yes. Support local.
Because the ones from Coles and Woolies is a bit too fine.
We have to know these things. Don't go anywhere near Aldi then. It comes from Germany.
Oh, goodness.
And the mince is very important, isn't it?
That's right. If it's too fine, you don't hardly taste the meat, you know. And now,
I love Popetti.
and then where they go in here.
How long does it take you to make the sauce?
Well,
and the
this
Popetti?
sauce, the sauce, that is the longest part.
Yep.
Probably.
I do mine for 3 or 4 hours.
Yes.
You do the same because we're good Italians.
Yes. Well, I reckon minimum is 4, but then I let it, see, when I do the sauce, I'm home, I put on in the morning, I let it simmer all
I'm the
day.
same. Put a good book on. Do you know my friends? They're Italian. They came from northern Italy, folks. And I went over for dinner at their house, and I'll tell you this story very quick. She boiled the pasta, and then I said to them, Margherita, cosa fai? And she says, I'm just putting the sauce. I said, but you didn't cook that sauce. You didn't put any meat in. She goes, no. She opened the bottle of the sauce, put it in the pasta, raw, and mixed it in, and that was our dinner.
Oh
and
my
I said,
goodness.
she goes, that's how we do in Italy. And I said, not from Calabria, we don't.
No. I mean, for that sauce, and there's 3 meats. I put 3 meats in that sauce. And simmer
Incredible.
all day, and
then
it's
you
a
put the Popetti in.
homemade sauce too.
And we call, for those people wondering, her Popetti means meatballs. What part of Italy are you from, Rosalind?
We're from Calabria, from
the same.
Sederno Marina, bud.
I wouldn't have thought you were from Calabria like me. All the good people come from Calabria. We're the best cooks,
Oh, I don't
best
know about
lasagna, best Popetti, best pizza. The others do all right. They try and copy us. She's a very good diplomat, Michelle. You've actually trained her very well.
And Rosalind, you have a story to tell us as well. So we'll let you, while this is cooking, we'll just make sure we have time for you to tell the story too. Might swap spots.
What's the story?
Well, the story here, this is my grandmother, Angela Arachi. She's the matriarch of our family. She brought this recipe with the sauce and the meatballs in 1938 to Australia, and she lived in Harvey, in the country town. And then my mum was married and come to Perth, and the recipe was passed on to me, so there's the 3 generations.
Beautiful.
You know, from Siderno Marino we are from.
Siderno, I'm from Reggio Calabria.
Yeah.
Look, you can't all come from Reggio Calabria. We have to.
Wow, I can feel the love on the set here.
Calabrese people are very special people. We get on with everybody. The Sicilians, the Bruzzesi, as you know, Rocky in the guest room. And the thing is, it's because we understand everybody. The northern Italians, we always say a little bit snobby, but they've got nothing to be snobby about.
I'm loving this conversation. We've got to make sure we get the rolls made though, so let's get moving with the rolls.
I think I'll have to get Rosalind in again, and we'll have to talk about Italians.
That would be lovely.
It is beautiful.
Nice history, Chef.
Joey Zazas, tell us where it is.
It's at 45 St George Terrace in the city. It's near the Barracks Inn.
What can people get there?
Nonna's famous meatballs. And then we've also got a Razzle Dazzle pork crackle, which is a fusion of my culture and Joey's culture. We can get the Hello Halloumi, which is a vegetarian option, which you've got over at your desk.
I have got a desk full of rolls.
Yes.
Well, there used to be.
We've got a Motown Philly, because Joe and I went to America on our honeymoon and loved the Motown.
I remember you saying that. So if people want to come down, 7 o'clock in the morning you're open?
Yes, we are.
So if they have to be there at 7 o'clock, folks, spend a bit of time with them. Make them company. Get a great coffee, because what's your coffee? What type of coffee do you have?
We've got Di Mattina coffee.
Di Mattina?
And my barista, Christina, head barista, is the most amazing barista on earth. She has convinced me to love chai lattes now. Amazing.
Nonna, do you put Romano cheese or do you, I'm the same?
Romano, yeah.
We have so much in common. I go to not Charlie, sometimes I go to Charlie, but I go to Sterling IGA.
Yeah,
one stop
that's where
Italian
that come
shop,
from.
1 kilo for about $12, and I ate that. It's beautiful on pasta, on lasagna, and on.
This looks
beautiful
amazing.
rolls.
So
Do I need to try some?
Got about 30 seconds, so let's get.
Can I do?
try this.
I'm going to do the giveaway first. We have got some amazing giveaways to give away. We've got some wonderful cards. If I find it, no, maybe I won't find it. Tell me what we're giving away on the show today.
We're giving away a Boss Sandwich lunch. So it's a $20 voucher, but that gets you a Boss Sandwich as well as a coffee or a drink.
Now all you have to do to win is send your details to this SMS 0439 929 929. It's on the screen right now. If you miss it, go back to the website, watch it again. All I need is your name and address, okay, and put the word BOSS, B-O-S-S on there, and I will give you one of those vouchers. Thank you very much. Do you want me to try it now, Michelle?
Yeah.
I'll get this little drip tray.
That's all right.
It's okay. It was
The
only,
meatballs are
it
on the
was only a meatball. Don't get too worried. I dropped one of my balls on the floor.
I can get you another one.
No, but
Beautiful. Michelle, if it's all right with you, I might go over there. Thank you, Nisha. Thank you, Nonna. Thank you, Michelle.
Pleasure, Fred.
They're wonderful. joeyzazas.com.au. Please support them. I will be by going over there and finishing the roll. Ciao. See you next week. Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye, Fred.